Hey, thank you for visiting my channel again. Y'all, I did a thumbnail on that previous video that I posted. That's my first thumbnail that I actually, well, obviously you can tell. Look, I'm not opposed to learning. And that's my very first one that I actually, my first attempt. So guess what? Either they're all gonna look like that and you'll know it's me. Be like, I reckon it's the hat. It's the hat thumbnail. So yeah, that was my first attempt. And it's gonna do what it do. So, hey, if you're new here, thank you. Please subscribe. But like I had mentioned in my my video with the thumbnail that I did for the first time, you don't need to do the notification. Don't do that to yourself. Please don't do that to yourself. Because like I said, there's no rhyme or reason for when I post. Sometimes I'll be like, 2:36 in the morning, I need a post. And there goes your dream. That dream that you were heavily getting into. So anyway, yeah, for all of you coming back, thank you. So I've been hammering on this awareness thing and this scamming thing, and in my short and in my thumbnail video, the importance of verbal communication, verbal interaction. Let me try to turn this because we got to hit the road, y'all. We got to hit the road. Let me see. What is this talking? Okay, we got time. So, so let's do it moving. So, you're going to hear a consistent theme in my videos. That of the past, this one now, and Lord be willing, those of the future. And that is, read. Don't read biasly. Read. And gain some knowledge and some awareness. Write. In fact, y'all, I don't even know where I place my notebook. Wait, no. I'll need to get me another one, actually, so I can start fresh. But anyhow, lady, you keep on texting. I'll go ahead and leave you behind. So, reading. Why? Because that's going to improve, number one, our vocabulary. Number two, our knowledge. And number three, help us to articulate our thoughts. That's why. So I just had an experience, y'all, in my absence. The hat, man. So it's been a series of interesting adventures. Sometimes I just think, like, why me, man? Why? It is what it is. So, nevertheless, yeah. Some interesting happenstances. So, if you looked at some of my videos or my shorts, I mention quite often this particular convenience store that I frequent. And one of the things that took place, which is why I'm driving verbal conversation, when you read and read and read and you have verbal communication with others, you only become better and better. Not only just with your understanding, but with your knowledge. Because even though I may know a lot because I read, there's others that know quite more, a whole lot more. And if I don't get the opportunity to encounter people that know more than me, I'm only going to know what I know. If that makes sense. As as I had stated in my previous video, Jordan Peterson, he had mentioned when you're talking with someone, right, whatever the subject is, you have to know way more than what you're talking about currently at that moment. And that makes a great deal of sense. You know, these people that present themselves as some sort of guru and some sort of expert, or, you know, that they just know so much. The majority of the time, like I said, conversation, the majority of the time, these people live in a filtered world. Their whole entire setup is to protect their fragile ego, which is why I mentioned there is no challenge. You're not going to be rebuffed because you don't allow it. You see what I'm saying? It's like one of my cousins. She doesn't even allow her hair to go gray. You know why? Because she's insecure about her gray hair. Man, let me tell you, one time I said, girl, her gray was coming out. And she was like, you know, she's insecure about it, right? I said, girl, let's get out of this Chinese restaurant before you start trying to dye your hair with this soy sauce. And that's how insecure she is. Constantly dyeing her hair, constantly dyeing her hair. And her eyebrows. Man, you know how much gray I got in my eyebrows? You know how much gray I got in my hair? A lot. So, that's what I mean. For my cousin, she's living in a filtered world. She's living in a sanitized world. She sanitizes her persona. That's not who you are. Chick, your head is as gray as a Brillo pad. That's how gray you are. But you have to censor that. It's the same way with people online. All these personas. Podcasts and channels and TikToks and whatever else, right? They filter that because they don't want people to know the reality of who they really are. It's a smokescreen, right? It's the same way with conversation. When you don't read, when you're not a literate person, when you're not knowledgeable, when you are not a actual expert, when you are not competent in what you profess, you're going to eliminate all adversarial interactions. You're going to eliminate all challenges. You're going to get rid of anybody that opposes your thinking. Anybody that is there to beat up your ego, you're going to get rid of it. You're going to filter it, delete it, scrub it, whatever it is. Because you're that fragile. You don't want adversity to expose your scam, your fraud. You're a liar. And so therefore these people, engaging in verbal conversation, let me tell you something. I want to talk to you. I want to. You want to call me right now? Let's talk. And you're going to see and you're going to hear just as this. And so one more time, nevertheless, this convenience store, they had a broken toilet. Let me not say it was a broken toilet. It was in need of some tender care. Tender care. It just needed to be tightened up. It wasn't broken. But of all those people, 10, 20 regular employees, and who knows how many rounds of stand-ins, you know, like when somebody calls in and they're not able to come into work, these stand-ins will come in and cover for them. So you look at that number of stand-ins, and you telling me out of all you brains, right, all of these minds, you telling me that none of you could figure out how to tighten a laboratory seat? You don't got a quarter in your pocket, in your purse? You don't got a butter knife? You don't got a flathead? You don't got any of that? I'm watching. And so I got fed up with it, you know. Excuse me. Give me just a moment, please. Okay, so nevertheless, you know, all of these employees didn't even have enough integrity to just go in and just tighten it. You don't got to put in a work order for that. Just tighten it. Like I said, whip out a quarter. You got a nickel, maybe even a dime, depending on, you know, the size of the groove, you know. But nevertheless, so I believe I had mentioned it to them. Now, mind you, this particular convenience store, they've become as successful and have grown as much as they have because of the quality. In addition to the quality of the service, the customer service, the entire culture of the company, it's just superior versus other convenience stores. It's clean. There's a lot of space. Like I said, the culture, the employees, the interaction with the employees and the customers, the restrooms, particularly the restrooms, they take a sense of, I don't like this area, sense of pride in how they care for the restrooms. So nevertheless, in the last year from 2023 up until now, I noticed a decline in their restrooms. Not so much, particularly the restrooms. So when I had presented it to the employees, they're like, oh, well, you know, they're just working on other things that are a higher priority. Okay, well, let me see. That was in August, September. I was back east visiting family, and plus we had a reunion in Maryland, and so I was there. When I came back, I had to do a moving. And so I remember coming back. Yeah, I remember coming back because they have a particular, okay, so nevertheless, I mentioned it then. That took place in August. Here we are in February of 2024, and it's still not fixed. Nevertheless, I mentioned to him, I said, if an elderly person goes in there, or a person with disabilities, and that seat causes them to fall because it's not stable, who's at fault? And we got a paper trail of you being made aware that you had a liability in your convenience store, a liability to the public. Look, in the state of Arizona, all you got to do is, Your Honor, I contacted them on the 1st, on the 7th, on the 13th, on the 8th, on the 20th. And that's all we got to do is show that type of evidence. Then the next thing you say, Your Honor, I would like to sue for $50 million trillion. Thank you for your time. And that's it. And so they just refused to do anything about it. And so it got to the point where I was like, well, you know what? If you don't want to do nothing about it, I'm going to take these screws off and set this toilet seat to the side. Because you're going to work. like I said, I've noticed this decline. And I think somebody perhaps may be embezzling money, because I've seen enough investigation ID and financial forensic, you know what I'm saying? I've seen enough of them to know, the red flags. So anyway, you know what these fools gonna go and do? They're gonna go and take the seat and put it back on in its same condition. It doesn't end there. Y'all. So they did that. So like later on, another time I end up there, same condition. This time I said, I'm going to take this whole entire seat and throw it in the trash, since you don't want to properly fix it. You know what these fools do? I threw away the screws. You know what they do? Set the seat back on the lavatory with no screws. Y'all, I said, okay, so this is a battle of wits, is it? Okay. So nevertheless, I start doing my research, come to find out that it's against the law. Move forward, let the night assistant, I've never seen him before. Hold on, y'all. Okay, y'all. So yeah, they just go and set the seat there. So I do some research, and it's against the law. The state of Arizona. It's a violation of regulation for several different departments, right? Nevertheless, there's this guy there that I have not ever encountered before, because they always have different people covering in case of emergency. If they have an employee who can't show up, they have somebody that will, fill in. Well, I know a lot of the employees. Like I said, like that's my go-to, and I've been doing deliveries. Later this year, it's going to be embarking on 7 years of doing deliveries. So I'm familiar with a lot of the employees. And this guy, I don't know, I didn't encounter him before, but I wanted to make him aware, hey, my name is going to be on that complaint. Y'all don't think it's a priority? Well, let's see how you feel when the state comes in and says you being cited for this, you got a fine for that, you violated this, you violated that. Sometimes you got to push people. Like, let me say it this way. Companies, let me not say people. Companies will see how far they can get away with something until the right people come in with the authority to make them take care of something, make them correct something. You see what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, it's very rare to come across people. There's a lot of people that are talkers of things, but they don't do nothing. I'm not one of those people. I just can't function that way. When I see an issue, I'ma resolve it. If I can't resolve it, I'm gonna find out who can resolve it. And so I'll take those steps to get in contact with whomever it is that's gonna make a change for the better with getting the issue taken care of, right? So nevertheless, in regards to verbal conversation and why it's important to read and be able to articulate your thoughts to communicate effectively, is because when I had mentioned to Jimmy John, that wasn't his name, but I'm just going to use an alias, he became hostile, right? And what further exacerbated his hostility toward me was that I'm not Sharquisha or Sharkeisha. Sharkeisha, no! That one. I'm not that, but I can be. And what I mean is that I did not demonstrate all of the stereotypes that are attributed to black women or women of color. Let me say women of color. So that's what infuriated him even more so. How dare this black woman come in and speak so eloquently to me regarding this toilet? How dare this black woman come in and know more about the law regarding this toilet situation than I do? How dare this black woman be direct with me and clear, unambiguous about her concern? How dare she? So guess what? He started responding with this. Doing all of that. Getting loud and, doing all of that. And one of the things that are attributed to women of color is that we are not capable of communicating effectively and peacefully and clearly. We can only yell. We can only be loud and abrasive, abrupt, rude, so he starts attributing what I'm saying, all of those stereotypes and stigmas, he starts attributing, well, first of all, I like to conduct business politely. I said, what part of my conversation was impolite? I'm not going to go into this. And he just goes off, right? I'm going to let you have that. So I do what I need to do. I come back in, and many, many studies have been done regarding how people of color are treated when we are direct, when we are clear, when we are able to convey ourselves appropriately and effectively. We get resistance, right? See, it was okay for him to snap, do all of this stuff, put his hands up, do all of that, which is unprofessional and immature. So it was okay for him, being a person of non-color, to do that. But me, being a person of color, if I had tried that, I would have been trespassed, right? So he can do what he did, say what he said, and it's okay. And you have to be aware of it. And the more that you read, you'll understand that that's what you're going to be encountering if you're a person of color. And if you're not a person of color, then you need to be made aware that you may be prone to these microaggressions, or your family members or your immediate circle of non-color are prone to that type of behavior. Fast forward to yesterday. Now, a lot of people don't know that when I have my brim pulled down even further, I can still see. I can see through the hat. And so nevertheless, I was walking through, my brim pulled down. Super comes up and says, "Hey ma'am, how are you doing?" "Great. How are you?" "Excellent. I just wanted to talk with you about an incident." "Okay, well, I'm not going to play vague games with you, boy." "What incident in specific?" Regarding a few things being said. "Like what being said in specific?" Like, I'm not her. I'm not going to play this ambiguous game and this, trail mix of subtleties. Let's get to the point. Talk to me. You called one of our employees a bigot. I certainly did. Let's go step outside where we can speak in private. I'm not going to have this conversation all out in the open with all of these eyes and ears. And so, nevertheless, hold on, y'all, because I got to do this really quick. I'm sorry. Give me just a moment. Okay. Just a moment, please. Okay, guys. So when I'm talking with him, with the super, you know, I find it interesting that, and here's one of the things that you have to be aware of. When there's video, there's a high chance there's audio. So nevertheless, I had told the super, I said, yeah, I did say that to your employee because he is. I said, if you look at the video and you listen to how he conducted himself and how he spoke to me, I said, number one, it's uncalled for, it's unprofessional. But if I had done that same thing, y'all would have blamed me for everything, you know what I mean? So I said, and this is one of the things that you guys have to be aware of. I don't know what level of training you guys are receiving or your employees are receiving. I said, but I think it's necessary that your employees be trained on microaggressions, cultural awareness, stereotypes and stigmas. I said, because that's what your employee demonstrated. He's a bigot, full-fledged, grade A, pure thoroughbred bigot. And I said, this is what people of color have to deal with all across this country. Non-people of color, people of non-color will conduct themselves and convey themselves in this inappropriate, rude, and aggressive, hostile manner. But one more time, when people of color convey themselves, just as I'm speaking as clearly as I am to you, I'm not rude, I'm being very direct with you. I said there is a difference between argumentative and directness, yelling and clear. All of these things your employees need training on. So he then said, I saw the video and I heard what he said, and I want to apologize. Well, sir, if that is the case, but see, here's the thing, and this is what you guys may not have caught. When he originally approached me, that was not his approach, his angle. Because I have a leg to stand on with that video and with that audio, right? He's wrong, I'm not. But you could disregard the video and the audio if I had fell for, I want to talk to you about an incident. You see? Some things were said, right? And if I had gone in and demonstrated all of those stereotypes and all of those prejudicial stigmas that are attached to people of color, that conversation would have went in a different direction and the outcome would have been different. You see? Whereas this is my position. If you had looked at the video and you had heard the audio, then why wouldn't you just say, ma'am, could I have a moment of your time? I heard the video. I saw the video. I heard the audio. And I want to apologize to you. Because it's very clear who was unprofessional, who was, inappropriate in that whole entire interaction. And it certainly was not me. So, when you're not aware of these subtle things, not just the microaggressions, but when you're not aware of the different angles that people can approach you, just like I said, when police pull you over, you're going to walk right into that trap. You're going to walk right into it. And the outcome and the interaction is going to be totally different than what it would have been had you been alert to the subtleties and the nuances of these very real elements that we, particularly people of, let me not say particularly people of color, people are not aware of. They're just not aware, or they just refuse to get beyond it, educate themselves. So anyway, that's an example of why it's so important. And you know what? I really got to, where am I at? This is where I want to be? Yeah, I guess I can go over here. So yeah, that's what took place. So with that being said, read more, write more, have verbal communication so that way you can improve yourself. Along with that, when you read more, write more, and you're constantly having verbal communication, you are going to become aware of your weaknesses, and you're going to strengthen those weaknesses in a positive light. You're going to diminish the weakness and improve the strength, where that way you have more awareness and you have more regulation on how you conduct yourself and interact with other people in the case of adversity. You're good. Let me tell you something. Effective communication and being literate and competent can save your life. Not only can it save your life, it can spare you many, many, many unfortunate circumstances. How you react to a situation will cause your circumstance. All right, thank you for listening, guys. I'm gonna do another one. We're gonna be scaring them out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be pumping them out today, because I got things to do. Like I got letters to write. Okay, all right, thank y'all.